G'day, monkeys. I'm Eddie Braverman. That's Midas Mulligan Magoo. And this is episode 21 of Not Safe for Work on WallStreetOasis.com.
Get the fuck out of here, man. I told you not to do shit like this when I'm hungover.
In honor of episode 21, we're dedicating this show to drinking and how it's one of the few consistent pleasures available to help you get through this life.
Indeed.
Alright, give me those. Beat it. Off. Go.
And folks, for those of you who wonder if dogs actually do look like their owners, I think you just got your best evidence.
That's right. As you can see here, I have the traditional makings of a Boilermaker, otherwise known as a beer and a bump, or a shot with a beer back. And I do things a little differently around here, though. I don't shoot my rum because I enjoy it too much, and I certainly don't ruin a good shot and a good beer by dropping one into the other. Unless it's an Irish car bomb, I love those. So you can see I got 3 fingers of Mountain Gay rum on the rocks for a starter. Now, when it comes to beer, French bars have a pretty cool custom. Beer is not big here. But every bar you visit will have the proper glassware for every beer they sell. As you can see, I got a proper Irish pint glass for my Guinness, and a 33 sonoliter Says glass for my 1664.
Okay.
Which is utter shite, by the way, as beers go.
Agreed.
What's that?
Agreed.
Now, for the middle schoolers in our audience, this is the proper method for pouring these beers. The 1664 is a lager, like most American beers, and it's highly carbonated. So it must be poured down the side of the glass at an angle, unless you want 6 inches of foamy head. This is the one and only instance where head is a bad thing. There we go. It's a proper pour. Now, a stout like Guinness, on the other hand, is far less carbonated and should be poured straight into the glass for even nitrogen dispersion. What a lot of people don't know about these Guinness cans is that they have a little ball of nitrogen that gets released. Look at that.
Yeah.
Perfect pour.
Exactly.
Now, the creamy head of a Guinness is a wondrous thing. So, Midas, how old were you when you started drinking?
First of all, let me say that Irish car bombs cannot be discussed on the show any longer because we agreed we weren't going to bring personal politics into this. I had my first proper drink at the age of 7. It was a Johnny Walker, and I could still feel it in my guts. But the first time I got righteously fucked up off some alcohol was when I had a rum cake at the age of 5. So anytime I see rum cake, man, rum cake.
Oh.
It was sitting there at my birthday. I started kind of poking into it, you know, taking a little lick, and after a few rounds of that, I was really fucked up. All the parents were wondering why I was stumbling around after eating cake. But anyway, I want to agree with you on the pouring techniques. Definitely a big boo on the Guinness selection. Guinness is not a stout, it is chocolate milk. Seriously, calling Guinness a stout is like calling the quadruple X rack at Walmart, you know, Juicy Couture, man. That shit is nasty. The only stout to drink, young monkeys, is Russian Imperial Stout. It rarely clocks in under 10% ABV, and the way it... What?
I've never had it.
That's come on, man. This is ridiculous. Why are we even having this show? We need to go to get you to the virtual bar right away. Russian Imperial Stout is really just, you know, British manufactured stout that used to be made especially for Catherine the Great's royal court. It's ridiculously thick and pungent, and precisely the sort of black liquid bread that beer was meant to be. I throw curses on light lager and all non-microbrew American beers. By the way, Eddie, if you're going to use the words creamy head and wonderful thing around me, please separate them with a nice rainbow-colored feather boa around your neck and a Huffington Post tramp stamp on your ass.
I'm secure in my manhood, brother.
But I'm not. Now,
you know, the thing about Guinness is, yeah, it might not be the thickest or the gnarliest stout out there, but you can put down 8 or 10 of these a night.
I hear you, but we're gonna get to real stouts in a minute. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your favorite drinks, toasts, and bars and such?
Well, you know, when I think about when I started drinking, actually Guinness, maybe this is why I have such an affinity for it, was my very first beer ever. It wasn't my first drink because, you know, my folks were kind of old school, and whenever I'd get a sore throat as a kid, I mean like a little kid, 6, 7, 8, 9 years old, they'd give me a shot of Jack Daniels for
Oh,
it.
yeah.
And as I got older, I figured that out. But I kept after my dad for the longest time. Let me drink a beer. Let me drink a beer. Let me drink a beer. Because he'd always have me fetching his beer. And he was a Coors Light man all the way. I mean, it was like the only thing he would drink. So finally, I'm like 11 years old, and my dad is finally fed up with hearing me beg him to have a beer. And so he says, all right, I'm going to fix this kid's ass. And a couple years earlier, for Christmas or Father's Day or something like that, someone had given him one of those beers of the world combo packs,
Right.
where there was like a beer it was like a 12-pack of 12 different beers from 12 different countries, and none of them were all that great. You know, you had Guinness, you had Beck's, you had, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, Baltic Lager and all that shit, yeah.
Right. And since he was a Coors Light guy, he promptly stuck that 12-pack in the closet where it sat in a hot closet for about 2 years. So he says, you know what, you want a beer? I'll let you drink a beer, but the deal is you got to drink the whole thing. And I said, yeah, no problem. I know I can do it. So I'm thinking he's going to go get me a cold Coors Light, something like that. He digs this crap out of the back of the closet where it's been sitting for 2 years. He breaks out the Guinness, thickest, nastiest thing he can find, and he pours a tall glass of it and makes me drink the whole thing. It was so nasty, dude. I did not, there's no lie, I'm like 11 years old. I did not touch another beer until I was 18. I was so off beer. Which, when I look back, it kind of backfired on the old man because I ended up just pounding hard liquor through high school, and I'm pretty sure that wasn't his intent. But
I was going to say, this is exactly the reason why victims of incest become porno stars. You can't be forcing people to do shit when they're young. But
you know, he was just one of these old school guys. Like, catch you smoking, you're going to smoke the whole pack. You know, that kind of deal. And, you know, it's a valuable lesson I learned.
Alright, so now that we've talked about some nasty shit, let me tell you guys about what a real beer tastes like. Go and check out Kentucky Breakfast Stout by the Founders Company. I had this beer for the first time about 2 weeks ago. It's about 11.5% ABV, but it's absolutely fucking incredible. It tastes like coffee and vanilla, and it ages in oak bourbon barrels for over a year. It is about $15-16 a bottle at the bar, but if you can get it from your local liquor store distributor, you're not going to go wrong picking up a 4-pack or a 6-pack, whatever it is. Best beer I've had in my life. I mean, it does cost like 5 Guinnesses, and you can't get as fucked up off of one, but I sat there with this actual look on my face for about an hour while I was nursing this thing. Beer really, as you get older, and liquors of all sorts, but beer specifically, should become something that you enjoy. It comes along with the food that you're eating and the atmosphere that you're in. All that piss-tasting lagery shit, it's going to get you more fucked up for the dollar, but you're going to pay for it the next morning. So I recommend checking out Kentucky Breakfast Stout if you have a chance. Yeah,
and as you get older, you'll find that, you know, just getting hammered is not, I mean, it's still enjoyable, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I do it regular, but it's more the destination and it's the journey that's the enjoyable part. You know, when you're drinking good beers and you're having good conversation with good friends, you know, it's not to take anything away from the, you know, keg stands on the PBR keg, but you know, as you get older, you tend to mellow out a little bit, and you tend to have a greater appreciation for fine liquor.
And your friends tend to get weaker in the upper body, so sometimes you wind up getting pile drive into the keg, and that's no fun either.
Yeah, right. Oh, man. Well, I was going to ask you about your worst drinking experience, but that was probably the energy rodeo, huh?
Man, that wasn't nothing. My personal record to this point is about 4 to 5 days in full blackout mode. I started one day in Brooklyn at a local dive, and woke up in South Beach almost a week later, and I still don't know what I did. But years and years later, I meet people all over the country who tell me that I have a brother who's a pretty crazy motherfucker. So fill in the blanks yourself, guys.
Well, you know what? I just thought of something that, two things, actually, that are kind of important, and I want to throw out there. First, when we're talking about liquor, I feel terrible about this because someone who represents several different liquor lines got in touch with me back in December and said, I like what you guys are doing on NSFW. I like that you're constantly drinking, and she saw my rum guide. And so she says, look, I rep, a dozen or so different labels. Could I send you some free tequila? Which, you know what, that's just a question you love to get. So I said, absolutely, send me what you got. And because I'm so ill-prepared this evening, I couldn't tell you her name, I couldn't tell you the company she works for, but I can tell you the tequila you should go buy if you are looking for a good premium tequila, and it was one that she sent me. The name of the tequila is Corralejo, and it's spelled Corallejo, and it's in a, you can't miss it because it's in a really distinctive bottle. It's very tall and slender, and the Corralejo you want to buy is the Reposado, which in Spanish means rested. It's the one in between the Blanco, the very young tequila, and the Añejo, the older tequila. The way tequila works is every tequila is clear like vodka when it's distilled. Some get sold like that. Those are the Blancos, which means white. Some go into old Kentucky bourbon barrels where they take on some of the character of the bourbon that was in there. Now, if they stay in a bourbon barrel from 6 months to 2 years and are then bottled, they're known as reposados. And if they stay in the bourbon barrel for more than 2 years, they're añejos. And obviously the prices generally go up from Blanco being the lowest to reposados being the middle and añejos being the highest. In this particular case, in Corralejo's case, the reposado I think is better than the añejo. And that's not unusual with tequilas. But there you go. There's the plug, and I'll be sure to look up the web address of the company that so that we can put that on there. But I forgot my other point. I'm already, deep into these drinks, so
instead of
what do you got to add?
things,
You got any good toasts for the monkeys?
I'm not an Irishman, but I'm trying to stay consistent with the national themes on this show. So all I'm gonna say is, if the Lord had wanted the Irish to rule, He would have never gave a fool like you whiskey, Eddie.
That's true.
And I always bring that up even when I'm in a room full of non-Irishmen and often get some strange looks, but I've always liked that one.
Yep. There's a couple of toasts you can't go wrong with. And another one when you're traveling. Oh, saying that we're having internet connection problems.
Yeah.
You still here? Okay.
I got you. You froze for a second, but if you want to keep going, try.
If you are a yachty and you pull into the yacht club of another nation, an excellent toast to use is, "Here's to the ships and women of your fine country. May the first be well rigged and the second well manned." You're liable to get a few rounds thrown your way if you do that. So that this doesn't go on forever, because I could literally talk forever about drinking, I wanted to bring up my book of the week. And the book of the week this week is Miss Charming's Book of Bar Amusements by Cheryl Charming. The book will absolutely pay for itself the first time you use it, because it'll teach you bar tricks and games that people will buy you round after round to have you teach them. All the tricks use common bar accoutrements like napkins, matches. The book is an absolute go-to resource for any bartenders working their way through college who want to make the tip jar explode. Just great stuff. If you want to be you want to be the center of attention at the bar, buy that book and pull some of those tricks out, and people will be all over you. You got anything else, Midas?
Yeah, now that your Uncle Eddie's finished putting you to sleep with the encyclopedia of liquor, let me tell you what you need. All you need is a venue full of drunken young bimboettes. All you need is that spray can whipped cream alcohol shit you've been seeing.
Oh!
All you need to do is point down and then have her drop it like it's hot. Now,
Drink like a grown-up, guys. Even if you're not, drink like a grown-up.
Listen, for my reading recommendation this week, I'm going caveman old school and recommending a really old black and white movie. It's called The Lost Weekend with Ray Milland. It's from 1945. It's his Oscar-winning performance. And really, it is something worth looking into if you want to see the real dark side of what happens when you develop a serious drinking problem. I've definitely overdone it so many times in my life that even, you know, when Eddie and I have time to prepare for a show like this, I really can't think of all the stupid shit I've done when I've been drunk. And this movie does a really good job of demonstrating what life turns into when blackouts go from one night to 1 week, 1 month, 1 year. So give it a look, give it a think, and use some of the knowledge you've gotten here today to get fucked up in a little more dignified way.
Leaving Las Vegas, baby.
Exactly. We got something real special for you guys next week, so make sure you tune in and tell all your friends, because it's not just going to be for the Wall Street crowd.
Absolutely. Na zdrowie, guys.
Take it easy, boys.